Hi, how's everyone doing? My name's Harry and I work here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, and I've got some interesting things to show you guys today. And so what I've got is actually liquid nitrogen. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick look at how liquid nitrogen acts with certain other items, because I'm sure everyone's wondered, like, what would happen if I insert whatever object you're thinking of into liquid nitrogen. Now, obviously, we're not going to shove a bunch of different things into liquid nitrogen, but we've got a couple of things that are going to help us figure out the types of things that we're going to put into liquid nitrogen, all right? So, first of all, we're going to look at what would happen if we put something that has water in it, if we put that into liquid nitrogen. Okay, so what we have here is a flower. Okay, now, as you know, flowers are plants, and you can think of all of these different petals as having like little thin sheets of water, all right? So plants need water to survive, so there's gonna be a fair amount of water inside this plant, all right? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be taking this guy and I'm going to be dipping this into the liquid nitrogen. Now, real quick, I'm gonna put on some safety gear before we get started. And you'll notice I'm only wearing it on one hand, and that is because I'll need the other hand to hold something else, and it requires a little bit of dexterity. So I'm gonna use these little tongs. I'm gonna grab onto this flower and I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna stick this into the liquid nitrogen. Now, as you can see before I do it though, it's like I can squeeze it and it springs back. It's really springy. It's, you know, it's still a pretty green flower. So we're gonna let this sit in here just for a little bit. All right, I think we're probably pretty good to go. I'm gonna pull this out of here. And earlier you saw it sprung back. Well, this time when I squeeze it, you notice it just shatters. So, as you might have guessed, something that has water in it, when it gets really, really cold, water tends to go into its solid form known as ice. And so in this case, our petals, our leaves, all that, those thin sheets of water, they froze. Okay, now, we're gonna look at something that has a gas in it. In our case, it's gonna be air. It's a balloon. And so we're gonna see, well, what would happen if you stuck a gas into liquid nitrogen? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and, just so everyone's aware, the liquid nitrogen is really low on the container. So if I put my hand towards the top, I'm not getting anywhere close to it, but I have to do this to help get the balloon started. There we go. And then I can finish it off with this. So earlier I mentioned, you know, water, as we cool it down, it tends to go into a solid state. Well, now we're dealing with a gas. So when you cool a gas down, what's gonna happen to it is typically it will go into a liquid state. And so what's happened inside this balloon is we actually have the air that was turned into liquid air, essentially. And so as that liquid air starts to heat back up, now that it is outside the liquid nitrogen, you'll notice that this balloon's actually starting to blow back up. So what happened at first was the air inside started to condense down as it got cooler, turned into a liquid. And then now that it's heating back up, it's expanding again, pushing back out on the balloon. So pretty much you can think of, if you're putting anything into liquid nitrogen, which hopefully you're not, you can think of whether it has a water in it or a liquid, or if it has gas or air inside of it. Typically, if it has one of those two things, it's gonna act in a similar nature as this. So I wanna say thank you guys for joining us for this quick little video, and we hope to see you here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science sometime soon.